As the years have progressed, there has been an increasing amount of coverage and dialogue on the topic of college corruption, specifically relating to tuition, out-of-state policies, and cheating on standardized tests such as the SAT and ACT. The recent college admission scandal, nicknamed Operation Varsity Blues, has especially brought to light the imperfections of the college education system and how many believe that alterations to the system are imperative and should not be taken lightly. I'm Marcella Alexander with Spot 127, and today I have here with me the 11th grade high school students Audrey Burnett, Naya Villaverde, and Raina McNeil, who are here to discuss their views on pursuing a college education in modern day and the flaws of public and private universities or lack thereof. Thank you all for joining me. All right, well, first off, I would like to ask you guys, what do you think should be considered the most important aspect of a college experience, and are universities matching those needs at a reasonable cost?
I think that there should be an emphasis on experience and actually getting life lessons, not only just educating them on just what they need to know for any job, but also be able to survive out in the real world, I guess. And it seems like it's really expensive to get that experience for a job, because these people are taking out loans to pay for school, to get a job, that you have to get that job to pay for those loans that you took out to go to school. So it just seems like an endless cycle of a lot of money.
I think college puts a lot of emphasis on academic experience instead of emotional and mental experience, which is also very important. And I think the resources that they have at universities, they're there, but they're not always very inviting for students. So I think that's something that should be worked on.
Yeah, and I feel like a really important thing that you should learn in college is like how to balance like work and real life, like how to live by yourself and all of that stuff, but then also like the academic stuff. But then have to pay so much for that is like they're like pushing you into something that you don't know how to do yet, because in order to pay, you have to know how to balance. It's like the cycle, like she was saying.
Yeah, it can be very stressful. Well, moving on to getting into college, do you think that the college admissions tests, such as the SAT and ACT, should be expunged or replaced, given the new stories of cheating and things like that?
There's many ways that you can get credit for college, like AP testing, SATs, and ACTs, like you said. And they're known for being really hard tests to get in college. And it seems like oftentimes a lot of these students will do anything to get into college, like cheating or going through crazy hoops and hurdles in order to get a decent score, in order for colleges to accept you, because at this point everyone's really good at school and everyone's smart, that you're not special for being really smart. So I feel like there should be another way to prove that you have the ability to be a good worker and are deserving to be accepted into that college.
Mm-hmm. All right, and according to The Atlantic, kind of branching off of that, students coming from the top 1%, aka families who make more than $630,000 a year, are 77 times more likely to be admitted to and attend an Ivy League school than students coming from families who make less than $30,000 a year. Furthermore, only 14% of undergraduates at competitive schools come from families who make up the bottom half of the U.S. income distribution. Now, do you guys believe that this is contributing to a further class divide within the U.S., and should universities be doing more to combat this issue?
Yeah, it seems like when you're poor, you kind of just stay poor through generations of your family. My parents grew up in a family household that was really poor, and the parents worked really hard in multiple jobs in order for them to be able to go to college. And only some of them were able to make it into college because they had to basically ask a bunch of people and stalk people down, run people down in order to get these opportunities for themselves. And it was really hard for them to even get into college in the first place. And to be able to pay for college is a whole other thing. They had to work multiple jobs, and they had to pay off a lot of loans when they're like into adulthood. And they went into college in the late 80s, early 90s. And seeing how college has gotten more expensive over time, it's almost impossible for people who are really low income to be able to have those same opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of high schools for low-income families don't have the same resources as, private high schools. And so that definitely puts, wealthier families at an advantage.
I feel like college admissions sometimes overlook the worth of students who are of lower income classes. So that ends up letting people with higher incomes into universities, whether they are deserving of it or not. And I feel like there's not enough emphasis on somebody's not just grades but attitude, whether they're a lower class or higher class.
Yeah.
And just like in this society, money in general, or like a label in general,